So I was born in Havana, Cuba, into a very strictly Roman Catholic family, very observant, let's use the word, I'm not sure it's used in Catholicism, but observant Catholics. And my grandparents were from Spain. 1960, when Castro took over, my family moved to Miami. I was 4 years old. And do the math, I'm 62.
You look great, though.
Thank you, and I look better than 500 years ago. So here I was in Miami. My dad's family had been born in Key West. My mother's family was from Spain, and my parents wanted me to be as American as possible. And I think that happens to everybody that immigrates, and as well, my dad was American, my grandfather was from Key West, they founded Key West, so I was placed in Catholic schools in Coral Gables, where my family lived. And if you know Miami, Coral Gables, very Catholic. But from a young age, 7, I did not feel that I belonged in that society. This is a very painful story, I have to tell you, because every time I tell it, I live it from my heart, I live it from my soul. It's not an easy story to tell, so if I get all shook up, just bear with me. So I struggled with the Catholic dogma. 7 years old, my sister was 9. And here we were, she was fine, everybody's running around and they're going to church and the incense and the nuns and the priests, and I'm struggling. I'm struggling with the Trinity, I'm struggling with Mary, I'm struggling with Jesus, I'm struggling and struggling and struggling. But you know what, every time I would approach the nuns or the priests, they would make me study more. I had to learn Latin. So I just, idiot I wasn't. I just struggled to myself, realized I couldn't talk to my parents about it. My sister didn't understand. Nobody understood. But I just kept struggling with, these are not my people. I don't belong here. Life continues. I went to Immaculata La Salle High School, which is on the campus of Mercy Hospital. Very nice Catholic girls' school. High school, and I was always a religious person. Very spiritual, very connected to God. I was a spiritual encounter leader, very religious, but still struggling, but always connecting to God. God connecting. Then I continued on, and my parents put me at Barry College. Catholic all the way. Back in the day, Barry College was a Catholic women's college. So there I was, in the middle of all that. But now in a college ambiance, I felt that I could question. And of course, all the teachers were nuns, right? But these were very special nuns. The sisters that were teaching comparative religions, they could see my struggle. Wonderful nuns, incredible. They could see me struggling. It was 2, the president of the college, Sister Trinita Flood, and then Sister Genie Milgrom, who later became a big shot in Miami. So they taught me about Judaism. They brought that light out in me. So I go back and I say, it's with these 2 nuns that in a comparative religions, I put Buddha aside, I put, Shinto aside, everything else aside, and I said, oh my gosh, I'm home. Here they are, showing me the light towards Judaism. It was amazing. Later I learned that Sister Trinita Flood and Sister Genie Milgrom were the 2 nuns that had gone single-handedly around Miami Beach and collected funds for what is now the Holocaust Memorial in Miami Beach. So there was something in the souls of these nuns. So I met a boy, Catholic, Cuban, I got married. Now I'm 17, and life is still going on in this Catholic way, and I'm still struggling inside. But then I had 2 kids right away. I do things right away, baptized my kids, and finally at the age of 29, so it seems like I lived a lifetime, but by then I'm 29. And I just think, I can't do this anymore. This is not who I am, going to this church, taking my children. This is not who I am, and I have left what connection I had with God behind. And I just went on in this other connection, and I started researching Judaism, studying Judaism, buying every book I could, hiding it under my bed because it was making my ex-husband nuts, and going to services on Saturday at different synagogues while telling him I was going to the beach. So I would take the kids. I had a girlfriend of mine who would watch them at the beach, and I was sneaking away to synagogue. It was so. Obviously, it didn't go on for long, and it broke up my marriage of 19 years. So it was a very difficult time. So now I was young, working mom, 2 kids, and being left free to pursue my love of Judaism and my need to connect with who I thought I really was. So there I am, going synagogue shopping, and I started at the Reconstructionist, then I went to the Reform, then I moved on to Conservative. Somehow I had come from such a sheltered Catholic background, there's so much pomp and circumstance, that it wasn't until I walked into this little shtibel in South Miami with a black hat and the tzitzis outside, the Hasidic rabbi, that I didn't feel that I had connected, because I was used to all these rules and regulations. It just seemed normal that I would continue. So I started going to Young Israel of Kendall, and it took me 4.5 years to convert to Judaism. It took this long because the Orthodox Rabbinical Council in Miami Beach did not understand that I would not convert my kids. This was a big deal. And they wanted to be sure that I would continue with this. I did not convert my kids because my ex-husband on the divorce decree had said I could not convert my kids. What he didn't realize, my ex, and I didn't realize at the time, is that Judaism is not lived in a building like the Catholics. Judaism is lived in the home. We have seders, we have our Rosh Hashanah meals, we have everything. So my daughter was so infused with Judaism from the get-go that it didn't matter. 4.5 years later, I was able to convert Orthodox. It took a long time. They kept schlepping rabbis in from New York to this odd case. And, they made it very difficult. 4.5 years when you're a young mom and you want to get on with your life, that's a long time, very long time. So finally, I started living an Orthodox life. I met my husband, Michael, who is my soulmate, who waited those 36 years for me. And I imported him from Belgium, from a Hasidic Ashkenazi family. I had no idea I had these roots, and we'll talk about that. That's where I'm going now. I was, for all intents and purposes, just a convert. Not to make light of conversion, but a convert living an Ashkenazi life at Young Israel of Kendall with a Hasidic rabbi that I had fallen in love with, and my husband, who came from Belgium. We live in Pinecrest down in South Miami and continued our lives.